Happy Friday, y'all out there in Facebook, LinkedIn, Instagram, YouTube, wherever you are watching this video. It is Tiffanie Kellog here, back again with another fabulous woman entrepreneur living child-free. Today we have Rachael Johnson. Welcome, Rachael.
Hi, thanks for having me.
All right, so we love to start with this interesting little teaser that was included in the description. So from cold pitching to comedy improv, Rachael truly likes to put herself out there. But which one scares her more?
It is, drumroll, cold pitching.
Why is that?
I actually had an improv show last night. We here in Rochester, New York, where I'm based, and we did a battle and we won. So we're performing again on Saturday. And I just like, whatever. I show up, I do the thing, and whatever happens, happens. None of it matters. It's just fun. And so I don't get stressed about it. Cold pitching, on the other hand, I do cold pitching in a way that's maybe not the traditional sense. Some people think of cold pitching and they think, oh, you're cold emailing people, cold DMs. You don't really get to know me. It feels spammy. But I'm someone who will take 2 to 3 hours writing a email to someone I would really love to work with, because I've been watching them. I've been seeing what they're doing. And I just, their values line up with mine. And I'll take a lot of time to do it. And then I hit send, and it's getting better, but it's still, improv's way easier.
Well, and probably we're less concerned with the outcome when it comes to the improv. Now, if people haven't done improv before or watched improv before, what are you even talking about?
Sure. Yeah. So comedy improv, this is when, so some people think of it as, or one way to relate to it is Whose Line Is It Anyway, which is that show in the 90s, 2000s with Drew Carey and Wayne Brady, where they played a lot of games. You can do games, or in our case, in my group, we will just say, walk up, go, hey, we're so-and-so, and we're here to do some comedy for you. We're going to make up everything on the spot. So just give us, can you give us one word, any word, to get us started? And last night someone said yodel. And so then we just started to create scenes based around yodeling or something that reminded us of yodeling. And it's all made up on the spot. There's framing, there's strategy behind it. But at the end of the day, it's like, it's just whatever. And it's just fun. And it's playing,
It's fun and it's playing, but it's interesting because I know there is a gentleman out there that I've seen in some of the speaker circuits. And like his thing is, okay, practice improv to become a better speaker.
Yes.
And I can totally see that. It's interesting because you have different kind of speakers. You have like your keynote speaker that they just do the presentation exactly.
Mm-hmm.
I learned to speak in an interaction, like facilitated conversation. So it was very much the back and forth. It's not a memorization. And so it's different, the different skills speakers can even develop in using their words.
Yes. And I think too, for my background, I taught music for 15 years before I do what I'm doing now. And that's improv. I mean, I was a music teacher, so I was improvising. I was on the ground with kindergartners pretending to be a snake or a bear or whatever. And I mean, just really in the child mode. And I tell even my improv, peers, when they get stuck or they're feeling nervous or stuck, I say, or if they're new to improv, I say, just pretend you're a kid again. Just pretend that you're a kid and you're in your childhood bedroom and you're playing with your friend. We used to do that, right? And we lost it along the way as adults. And some people are very uncomfortable tapping into their inner child, but those who are willing to try improv, they're usually okay with expanding a little bit into that territory.
So you're talking about kids.
Yeah.
And you're talking about being a kindergarten teacher, but wait, aren't you child free?
I am. Yes.
Hey, don't you hate kids?
No.
I probably shouldn't even joke about that, y'all. But most people think, oh, if you're child free, you hate kids.
Yeah. I guess some people might. I haven't really dove into that or had that kind of conversation with anyone, but probably because I am a teacher, so they know I don't hate kids. I love them. I have a niece and a nephew, and like I said, I taught preschool through 6th grade mostly, and then for the last 7 years of my career, I was K through 5, general music and chorus. And no, I love kids. I mean, I actually thought I was going to have kids in my 20s, but then what happened was I got divorced after being with someone for 10 years. And I was very grateful we did not have kids, because it would have been hard. I wouldn't have been able to move to Chicago. I wouldn't have been able to do all the traveling that I did. And I wouldn't have been able to leave teaching and start my business, because I know I would have been too nervous to take that risk and be an entrepreneur, because I'd have another mouth to feed. I wouldn't be in Chicago. I would have stayed in Rochester because that would have been where my ex was. So, it's like one of those things where I didn't necessarily, I guess as a growing up, I never had that real burning desire to have children. And I know some women do. And I feel for the women who end up in situations like mine, or have to go through IVF and struggle with miscarriages, and they just want kids because they've always felt they wanted to be a mom. I'm so grateful I've never had that internal desire, because I really was like, if it happens, great. If it doesn't happen, fine. And then when that situation happened to me about 10 years ago, I thought, you know what? I'm good, because I don't want to have a kid always connecting me to a man, and I want to have that independence. I want to be able to just have that freedom to not worry, add on all that worry and anxiety that comes with having a child, just not personally for me.
No, I totally get it. And what I love is it's so interesting, because there are a lot of people that think if you don't have kids because you don't like them, right? And I'm with you. I love kids when I get to give them back at the end. Like I don't want to have to be like sometimes I'm like, I don't want to be responsible for my dogs all the time. Can somebody help me out with them? And they're very low maintenance. I can shut them in the crate, and y'all, they love their crates. Like half the time I go looking for them, they're sleeping in the crates with the door open. I'm not being mean. But I feel like sometimes that's responsibility, and the kids are a massive responsibility. And I love that we can love kids. Like in this community, we've got a woman that's has a tutoring company. There's another woman now, she does music, but she helps high school kids get college scholarships.
Love that.
Through music. So I love the fact that we can pour in and we can really help that next generation, those children coming into the world. And maybe we give them the space of, here's that adult that you can hang out with, or the different perspective. Because I look at the parents and they have a lot going on, and it's definitely not an easy thing to do. And the more you can get the community to support, that's awesome.
Yes. That also made me think of my best friend who I met while teaching, who doesn't have kids either. She is the mom of so many of her high school students over the last 10, 12 years that she's been teaching. And, it's like people who are parents, rightfully so, don't have the time to invest in other people's children. And there are in the school she's in, there are a lot of family struggles, to put it nicely. And so they need someone who can be attentive. And if you can only spread yourself to so many people. And so she's able to play that role in a way, even though she doesn't have biological kids of her own.
Yeah. So we've talked a little bit about kids and school. We've talked about improv, but let's get down to business, y'all, by literally talking about Rachel's business. So a little of her bio. I rarely make it through it all. All right. So Rachel helps heart-led entrepreneurs find the words that truly sound like them and actually sell. Huh? What does that mean? Tell me a little bit about this. Words that we can use.
Yeah. So
actually sell.
Yeah. So I've learned now, people who who have been in business for a while know what a copywriter is, but people who are starting in business or just have been DIYing it themselves for a long time, I say I'm a copywriter, and they're like, I don't know what you work with, that kind of thing. So the role I've taken on is copywriter and messaging strategist. So what I do is I help brands or businesses get really clear on their messaging, because it's so hard to communicate clearly what we do, what we offer, who we help. We think we are communicating it well because we know what it is inside our heads. But when you try to put it on paper or on a website or in your emails or in your social media captions, it gets challenging. And so I help by, coming in with the right questions, getting you to understand who your ideal client is, what their pain points are, their dreams and desires, their objections they might have to wanting to work with you, even if they don't realize it. There's a lot of subconscious objections people have, but I get to the nitty gritty of it. So then I can create messaging foundation. We can create messaging pillars to help you really just show up as you are with what you do and how you serve other people. And because there's people out there looking for your offer, and if they don't understand what you do, then they're going to go on to the next person or the next website or the next social media account to figure out if someone else is right for them. So the messaging clarity is so important. And then the other component is the brand voice. I just love personality driven copy. So understanding who you are as a person, that's your X factor, especially if you're a personal brand, and understanding what makes you unique in that way and how to bring your own voice into the copy. So you're not copy pasting ChatGPT output drivel.
All right. So let's talk about this ChatGPT output drivel, because I will say that a lot of people are really exploding. No, that's not the right word I want to use. A lot of people are taking advantage of AI to be more active on social media, to send more emails, all of that. And having AI do it for them. I mean, it's free, it's easy, it sounds good, right? Why should I hire a professional when the computer can do it? And you know what? I'm not just using the free stuff. I'm paying $20 for
Right.
ChatGPT.
Right.
No, I don't really need a professional copywriter if I've got AI to do it for me, right?
Yeah, ChatGPT 5 can do it all for you, right? True. Yeah, I had someone once ask me, well, can I just put my brand guide into ChatGPT and it'll just write my website? And I said, well, sure, but it's going to sound like everybody else, because if you don't know the right questions to ask it, if you can't recognize a good strategy from bad, if you don't have a really deep, thorough understanding of your brand voice and how you show up online, no matter how many times you ask ChatGPT to write an email with good strategy and with this call to action, it's not going to resonate. And I know people are getting a lot smarter right now. Consumers are, because they know AI is out there. They know people are using it. And I can tell, because I've been studying this and doing this for so long, once an email is written by ChatGPT without much thought behind it, and consumers are starting to notice as well. You've got lots of emojis. You've got a lot of common phrases that copywriters used to only use, but now because ChatGPT has tapped into copywriting.
ChatGPT is copying the copywriters.
Right. So we have words like, no fluff here and level up your business. And here's the thing. And here's the truth. And you start to notice these showing up everywhere. And they used to be rare because only copywriters used them. Now we have to think of alternate ways to say those things so we can stand out and not dismiss it when we hear these really common phrases that ChatGPT isms, I call them.
Yes. And I'm so annoyed with ChatGPT because of that, because I've been using emojis for quite a while. Like, it's natural in my, I use an app or extension called Text Expander. And so I can make cheat codes for all of my stuff. So somebody said, hey, what's your Zoom link? I put in Z Zoom, and that's my cheat code. And it pops up the whole link. If somebody says, I've got all my links, my personal information, like if they're like, and I don't do this one a lot, like my EIN number, because who remembers that silly thing? Like, it's there as a hack. And so I have all my emojis too. And now it's like writing with the emojis. I'm like, seriously? And the hyphens, I use hyphens all the time.
And dash, I know.
I'm like, I'm like, why are you're pulling all the stuff?
Yeah.
Maybe it's because I like to write. Maybe there is the writer side of me that I'm using some of this stuff. And I laugh. I have not a brand guide, a language guide for my AI. I try to avoid not, NOT. So don't use not or shouldn't, wouldn't, can't. Don't use but. Don't use the hyphen. It won't listen to that. I'm like, how do people expect this to be like your business and your brand if it can't even listen to the basic spell Tiffanie with an IE?
Mm-hmm.
Like, So it was interesting because after we connected for the first time, because y'all, nobody just comes on here and then interviews. I got to make sure that they are worthy to be here with us and representing the brand of the women entrepreneurs living child free. And I was checking out her Instagram, and I don't do much on Instagram, so that tells you something. And she had this really great carousel, and I think I was in the middle of writing my book. Now, writing my book only took about 3 weeks, so in the middle is not like years of time. Usually when I start writing, I get it done super quick. It just takes years to start the writing. But I saw one, I think it was maybe Here's the Truth, like that AI is using all the time. And I don't like Here's the Truth, or honestly, let me tell you, let me be truthful here. Because to me, that's like, does that mean I was lying all the rest of the time?
Yeah.
I know that's not how people use it. That's just how I hear it. But you had some really creative alternatives. So can you tell us a little bit about, that aspect of it and how you as a copywriter are going to stay ahead of that? And really, how do you find the person's brand voice?
Yeah. So oh man, where do I even begin with that? So for finding someone's brand voice, there's a lot of tools out there that you can use. I did an entire cohort with Justin Blackman, who's like the brand voice guru guy. And I went through Brand Voice Academy, learned a lot from him. But even before that, I really almost feel like a ghostwriter in a way, because I can pick up the nuances and the cadence. Really, so brand voice, let me back up. Brand voice is 3 components. It's your words, the frequency, or like your cadence, and your tone, right? So you can say yes in like several different ways, an exclamation point, ... period, all these different ways, right? So that's your tone. And then, so looking at that, analyzing past content through that, like what I like to call is your greatest hits. So looking at your greatest hits content, things that really resonated with your audience, and analyzing that, and then seeing the patterns, right? Now, if you're using ChatGPT a lot, or you haven't really done a lot of writing for your business in the last couple of years, then I would definitely want to do what's called a brand voice finder session. And that is a 90-minute session with me where I help you get very clear on your brand voice. So are you more of an authoritative voice where you're going to be more like, this is the way, or are you going to be more voice of outlook, like,
or cheeky,
right? Yeah. Voice. Yeah. Bar, right? Are you more friend at the bar? Are you more of a yogi where you're going to use long, flowy sentences? How do you want to be perceived? What is going to connect with your ideal clients for your business? And then we go from there with developing a brand voice. And just like you said, with your language guide and AI, we create all of that as well. So yeah.
And I do use AI sometimes to help. I think that AI is great to assist.
Yeah.
That to me, AI is assist I. That just is grammatically incorrect. But really, I think of it as assist. But the professionals are the ones that are going to get it and know it and what to avoid. Because I like to joke, I think AI is like a petulant teenager, brilliant sometimes and doesn't care at other times.
Yeah. That can be, especially if you don't know how to use the right prompts, or you don't know what to look for. If you don't know what to look for, and you don't know what's working, what's not working, then, and you don't have a pulse on it, right? Currently in 2025. And you shouldn't have to. If you're a business owner, you've got a million other things you have to do. So why, yes, AI can do some of that work. I'm not saying I don't use AI either. I might use it as a junior copywriter, bouncing ideas off of it, but I'm always tweaking and editing and then deciding what the final copy is going to be. I might use it for ideation. I definitely use it for CEO things like organizing my time and all that kind of stuff, right? Beyond copy. But the copy component, it's a lot of work to just even get to where you want to go with ChatGPT, if you are going to use ChatGPT. So it's like, do you want to do that yourself and spend all that time working outside of your zone of genius? Or can you just hire somebody who really understands the craft of writing and do that for you?
So that's a good point. And for the entrepreneurs that are like, Rachel, I don't have a lot of money. AI is better than nothing, right? I can spend 5 hours a week coming up with all that stuff because I would have to pay you money.
Yeah.
All right, y'all, I'm going to get on my soapbox for a minute. A, do you enjoy doing it? Like, somebody was like, Tiffanie, do you write your books? Yes, I like writing. I wrote my first book in 8th grade. like for fun, summertime. It was Christopher Pike, R.L. Stein style. I
Oh yeah.
still have it. I found the manuscript. It's like 80 pages. I'm like, oh my gosh, I started reading it. I'm like, this is horrendous. I found the floppy disk the other day. I'm like, I have to find somebody that can help me with getting it off the floppy disk program. Because I'm like, I have my book that I wrote, but I love to write. I find that most people that own businesses, that's a minority. For me, writing's fun. Yes, let's go write. That is not most of us. And if it's not great, you don't like doing it, and you could pay somebody, yeah, it's going to cost us money, but aren't we going to get a better result? And if we have better content and better copy that's attracting our ideal clients, isn't that a win and an investment instead of an expense? What are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, well, just like you said, you have to think about the ROI. So if you're spending 5-6 hours creating copy and content, you're even batching for a day, and that's what you decide you're going to do. How can you better use that time to work on, again, your zone of genius and work on your business and the parts that light you up and align better with you and make you happy. And also, again, if you're working on that on your own and that's not your expertise, then are you getting results? So ask yourself that. Is the stuff that you're doing and creating on ChatGPT, if it's getting you results, then great. Like, that's awesome. Like, truly. Not, or you're just frustrated because you're struggling to come up with content all the time, or you don't know what to write in your emails. You have an email sequence coming up, or you did an email sequence for a launch and it flopped. There's probably something in those email sequences. If you're using ChatGPT, that needs to be looked at, and we need to go in and see what's going on, and do a clear, again, messaging foundations, that messaging strategy, and then the copywriting. So it sounds like you, because if you're using ChatGPT a lot and not really recognizing the difference between the human touch and the robot touch, people notice. People just notice, and I notice when I'm on a lot of email lists. And when I see the people who take the time, and I see the people who don't take the time, I don't want to read the emails from the people who didn't take the time. So I'm like, if you didn't take the time to do that, and there's no human touch behind this, I'm not that interested. And I've heard from a lot of people that's the case for them. So.
And then it becomes, did we just invest our time or did we waste our time?
Yeah.
And to take the time, energy, and effort and have people just like, ugh. Because I'm with you. If I see a ton of EM dashes, if bespoke, transformative, or word, it's like AI is really ruining some of the things that we love. Now, bespoke was never one of mine, nor was transformative, but it's kind of overusing it, and that's what it is. It's a learning model. So it's like, oh, here's what's working well, let's go do this, and then it doesn't work anymore because everybody's doing it.
Yes, exactly. And the other component is thinking about emails is the storytelling component. My email, my weekly-ish newsletter, it's called The Real Deal Digest. And I pull stories from my life and that makes sense, right? That, and use them to weave it into business. And that's a skill set. And can ChatGPT do that? Yes, but again, it's usually pretty clunky unless you have your brand voice super defined. It's clunky and it just sounds like the robot.
I've given it 150,000 words written, plus all my rules, and it still can't get a single paragraph right. And I'm like, am I investing my time or am I wasting my time? And you have to ask yourself, if I didn't live to write, it would be a very different story. Yeah. And so I think that it becomes, what do we have passion for? But here's the thing, y'all. You also, just because you love to do it, should you do it? Are there better ways that you can be making your money? Like, let me come up with the ideas, send them over to Rachel, let her flesh it out in your voice. And then you've got here's the story, here's the content, let them do it. And you can spend your time doing the things that matter when it comes to making money in your business.
And that you like. You're not pulling your hair out or staring at a blank Google Doc if you do try to do it with ChatGPT. I mean, I sit down with business owners who just, they get overwhelmed too. The other part of just the clarity piece, that's what I like to help people with too, is just the clarity, because they're like, okay, I've been doing this, and they get really stuck, because one of my favorite phrases or metaphors is when you're inside the jar, you can't see the label. Yeah. And so you get stuck and you're in your own head and you think you have something great, but you're, again, going back to the beginning of this conversation, you're not clearly communicating it and you don't even realize it because you're so close to it. You're right here.
Yeah. Yeah, I think that's so common for people. We're in our head and we know what our clients really need, but that's not what they're saying. Somebody one time was like, I'm looking for people that are complaining about their insurance premiums being raised by X percentage. I'm like, no, you're not. You're looking for people bitching about having to pay more for insurance.
Yeah.
I'm like, we got to speak in the language of our ideal clients so that they feel invited in. Now, go ahead. No.
I'm getting excited because I'm like, and that's where voice of the customer research comes in.
Oh, tell us about that.
Well, that's, again, you can use Chat GPT to say, hey, this is my ideal demographic, my ideal client, my demographic, my target audience, whatever verbiage you want to use. Here's some pain points and some dreams and desires they have. Can you come up with more or whatever, right? Or you can create a persona that you think is your ideal client and give it ChatGPT, and it'll give you something. But the things that are wrong with that is, one, when we don't actually ask our clients, we don't ask them the right questions specifically to get that sticky copy, to get those answers from them. That's a missed opportunity. And then what was the other thing I was saying? If you're asking ChatGPT to come up with something, a persona or to scour the internet, well, guess what? Everybody else in your industry might be doing that as well. And so that's why, again, we start to sound the same because we're not getting specific. And good copy is hyper specific to a person's needs and to that, future, we call that future pacing, like to where they want to be.
Awesome. There are so many more questions I want to ask, so many more things that I want to talk about, but y'all, we only have so much time. You don't watch this because it's a 3-hour program. It's typically around 30 minutes. So, first off, Rachael, thank you so much for sharing all of this. You've got some gifts for us too, as if she is not gift enough. She's got some gifts for us.
Yeah. So I think there's two, right? So the first one's the one we talked about the most, was about the ChatGPT-isms. And if you don't want to sound like ChatGPT and you're not sure where to start, I've got this free resource. I've renamed it like 3 or 4 times. So Tiffanie, can you say what I'm calling it right now?
Yes. So that would be Say It Your Way, 40 plus alternatives to the most common ChatGPT-isms. And the link for that and the other ones we'll talk about in a minute is in the description wherever you're watching this. So you can just go click on it. I can show you the link. You're not going to write it down. Just go wherever this is being shown. It's already there for you to click on. So again, that is Say It Your Way, 40 plus alternatives to the most common ChatGPT-isms.
Yeah, like I said, I've been needing to work on that title. I still want to, but it's out there.
Now I'm thinking, okay, that sounds like a fun little brainstorming session, but tell us about it. I'll think some ideas later.
Yeah. So that just gives you I come up with I take some of those most common ChatGPT-isms that we talked about earlier, like here's the truth, no fluff, fluff-free zone, next, take your business to the next level, which is a common one and a good one. I don't think it's terrible, but I give you all their ways to say it based, again, on your brand voice and what makes sense for you. So you can take them, leave them. It can inspire you. So that's 18-page document of just lots of alternative phrases. The second one I gave you is, we didn't really dive into this too much, but it's the Just Send It toolkit. And that's the first 5 emails to send to your subscribers that, again, bring your personality to the forefront. And not only that, but also the first 5 emails are just a great way it's your digital handshake, right? So it's a great way to just show people, to introduce yourself without being overly salesy or pushy or feeling icky about it. I do it in a way that feels good. It feels ethical. And so I took my process and I put that into a free resource for you guys as well.
That is so nice of you to share that with us. So y'all check out those links. Get there. She does have some events coming up. So when you go there, you'll get on her list to get all of her amazing stuff that she's going to be sending out to you. Because really, whether you take her tips and try and DIY it, or you're like, look, I'm tired of doing this myself. There are other things that I could be doing. Whether that's I want to go do more client calls, or I want to work on my business, or you want to go to the beach, totally up to you on what would be best for you. Like today, it's all the fun stuff. I have a email coming out for my dogs. Actually, I don't usually do dog emails, but today Guinness and Harper is sending out emails because they want more owners to have more free time. I'm silly, y'all. So that's the kind of content that you get from me. But so whether you do it yourself or whether you're like, you know what, it is finally time for me to hire somebody to help me with this aspect of my business. Maybe this is the universe's way of nudging you to at least reaching out and chatting with Rachael. So Rachael, how can people find you?
Yes, few ways. My website is rj-creative.com, not the M dash, a shorter dash, rj-creative.com. For my website, you can learn more about me, my background, and what I offer. I'm also on Instagram quite a bit. That's Rachael Writing Copy, and make sure you spell my name right, Rachael Writing Copy. I'm pretty goofy over there, but I also like to give a lot of educational value posts, and marketing musical parodies is something I like to do as well over there.
What?
Yeah.
Marketing musical parodies. Because apparently I did not look enough on Instagram because I missed that.
They might be buried. I should pin a couple. Yeah.
Well, you know what? I'm not going to ask. Y'all are going to do what I'm going to do. We're going to go look and comment and do it. Is there a favorite one of your marketing musical parodies that we should be looking for?
Yes, it was definitely Wannabe by Spice Girls. If you want to make more sales, you got to get with email.
And nice.
I sing it. I think it's in the highlights. If you go to my highlights, and they're all in there. Yeah. So.
Brilliant. I so look forward to checking this out. Y'all, and this is just one of the amazing women that I've met. So last year I learned that Childfree was a thing and found out there was no group for us entrepreneurs. And that's when I decided in January, we are going to create a group for us. And I am having so much fun talking to these ladies every Friday here at 11:11 a.m. Eastern. You can come join us on the Facebook group. It's Women Entrepreneurs Living Child-Free. We're that on Facebook, on LinkedIn. Too long for YouTube, but if you put Women Entrepreneurs Living Child-Free, it'll pop up as well. We have these videos there every week. We've got new stuff that's going to be coming out. The intention is just, it's not about being child-free. There's other groups for that. It's a women's entrepreneurs group without the kids. And so we just missed those conversations. And that's something that a lot of the women's groups have that I didn't love because I just felt on the outside and I felt judged. So we wanted to create this safe, amazing space for us to have these conversations. So it has been brilliant getting to chat with you, Rachael. It is the time of the meeting now. What is it that we need to know before we go?
All right. What you need to know before you go is actually nothing to do with what I talked about, but I was thinking about how I just do what you want. Do what you want. That's actually a podcast I have. Do what you want. And don't worry about what other people think about you, and do the things that feel right. I like to think about every choice I make. Am I doing it out of fear? Or am I doing it out of alignment? And so if I realize I'm doing something out of fear, I switch it and I make sure I'm making my choice out of alignment.
Well, Rachael, thank you so much for sharing your brilliance with us. Thank you for sharing those gifts so that we can, if we want to do it ourselves, and now we know where to find you, if we want to let the expert do it. And I always find letting the expert do it is the better way to go, y'all. Thank you so much. We'll be back here next Friday, same bat time, same bat channel, as we talk to another woman entrepreneur living child-free.